We start with Kevin Durant on the move. Reports that the Mavs, Rockets, and wait for it, Warriors are eyeing the 36-year-old superstar who's still getting it done, averaging 27, 6, and 4, shooting 52%. So, Nick, I got a two-parter here. Do you like Durant back to the Warriors, and does it make them contenders?
Well, KD's got to go save Steph for a second time, evidently. I mean, that's
LeBron
what
just got Luka.
That's what he didn't know about it. He wasn't fighting for it.
Steph did win 2 without KD.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying.
Hey.
I mean, again, I know we can't do it to Steph what we do to LeBron. How much help does Steph need? Is that what we're supposed to do?
He ain't LeBron. He's not LeBron.
So, listen, it would cement the weirdest career of any superstar ever if he went. It's just really bizarre. Yeah, I mean, he's drafted by OKC, instantly awesome. One of the 10 best players in the league by year 2, one of the 3 best players in the league by year 3, and they're perennial contenders every year. They then blow a 3-1 lead. He goes to the team that he blew the lead to. They become maybe the greatest team of all time. Certainly you can't count on one hand teams better than them. That blows up. And then it's a weird 6 years. Brooklyn's a disaster. Phoenix is more of a disaster. Now back to Golden State, maybe. Just never seen a career from a guy who, Brew and I were talking before the show about how Steph, I was joking about Steph, but Steph you're seeing he's in his late 30s, and you're seeing it on the court. You don't really see it with Durant. Durant is not, if Apex Durant was a 99 2K rating, right now Durant's like a 94. You know what I mean? You see a little bit lesser aside from the availability, but he's still amazing. But this guy, after living in the conference finals and the finals the first decade of his career, hasn't played past round 2 in 6 years. And so it would be totally bizarre, and to answer the question, absolutely not.
Not contenders.
Not contenders. Wow. I mean, if you dropped him in on the team they have right now, yes. But with the fact that you would have to lose either Wiggins or Draymond plus 3 role players, no, that's not a contender. I think the Luka LeBron pairing, while maybe definitely not as seamless, Luka and LeBron to me are both better than KD and Steph. And we were debating, are they contenders? And so the Warriors be losing their defense. They'd be losing their depth. Steph is having the worst year of his career because he's older. No, it wouldn't make them contenders. It would be fun to see. I'd love to see it. But it wouldn't make them contenders to me.
I think with KD, what you first talked about, a very interesting career. I mean, going to Golden State was just an that in and of itself makes it wow, that's unique. I mean, LeBron did something similar, but Durant was way further than that. Charles Barkley, interesting career. It's Philadelphia, he's great, but they're not really big contenders. Goes to Phoenix, gets to the finals, only there 4 years, loses. Then, for all his criticism of Durant and LeBron joining forces with other players, he goes and joins Akeem and Drexler, and then they get Pippen, but they never win it. They never even get to the finals. So in this day and age, that would really be critiqued hard. And his numbers were great before he went to Houston. So it's not like, he had really fallen off.
Correct.
As far as the contenders, I do think they would be contenders. Now, I'm not saying they'd be favorites in the West, but definitely contenders. And I think they would lose Wiggins. I would say Wiggins and Kuminga, and then some of the role players. Yeah. The thing is, they have a lot of good young role players. What they don't have is star power outside of Steph. So Steph is seeing a lot of double and triple teams, and there's no one to take that pressure. At least you used to have Clay. Even as he got older, you still had to worry about Clay. They got nobody offensively that you really have to worry about. So now you bring KD, and obviously you can't just focus on Steph, because if you do, KD will kill you. You got to keep Draymond. because he's the floor general defensively. Even though Wiggins is great defensively, I think Draymond is the key to their defense. And then if you keep Gary Payton II, Kevon Looney, Podzimski, like they've got a lot of role
those guys.
players.
They wouldn't lose all those guys you just mentioned. They would lose some of them.
So if you keep some of them for defense or athleticism, then you got two bona fide. I think Steph's production would go up.
I agree his production would go up. Steph, if people aren't watching, and listen, Steph's one of the 12 greatest players of all time, and that championship a few years ago, any questions is even too strong of a word there was, he answered them all. Steph has more games this year with less than 15 points than he has with 30 points. Like Steph has, if you haven't been locked into the NBA, I don't blame you, it's been football season. This has been a tough year so far for Steph. What I'm surprised by in your response, and then go, because I know how, I don't want to say pessimistic, but skeptical you are of the Lakers. If this trade happened and it was Wiggins, Kuminga, and Pods, pick a role, it'd be one other role player. Let's just say it's those three. They keep Draymond. I think the Lakers are better than that team, and I don't think you believe in the. Well,
again, the defense, but look, and we'll get to the Lakers momentarily, but LeBron is playing at such a high level that I may be changing my mind.
I mean, right now if the Lakers would have the best, to me, two players between the teams. I think right now Luka's clearly the best.
But they had that before. With AD.
Yeah, but you went from AD being in the argument to Luka being clearly the best. And right now, this moment, I know he's 40. I know he's in year 22.
He's playing great.
LeBron is playing better than Steph or Durant. And so, I don't know,
it's just fit.
Yeah, the fit part of it, and KD and Steph have played together and were unbelievable.
Right. I
think the chemistry would be unbelievable. Yeah. I just couldn't wait. It would be like, it reminds me of when a beloved movie franchise said, you know what? We're going to make another one.
Ocean's 15.
Yeah, just like, we're back to making that?
Yeah.
It's like, you know what we decided to do? Pacino and De Niro together. Like, oh, really? That will work. So for every flaw that when you go through the West, I think Luka and LeBron will be amazing. Outside of the defense is obviously a real issue. And as you brought up, there's going to be growing pains that maybe they start getting it figured out.
No question.
Best case scenario, there's growing pains. Yep. I feel like this is the opposite. Steve Kerr's like, we're back, and Draymond and KD are
you agree that it'd be seamless.
I agree that Steph Durant would be seamless. There's no question about it. Can just real quick before we move on. We're sure the Draymond KD thing would be seamless because you're saying, I think correctly from a basketball standpoint,
they need
because Wendy, who is the best working NBA reporter in the world. I mean, I say working. It's because Bruce here. I don't consider you an NBA reporter anymore.
No.
Wendy has made it very clear. Draymond's on the table. He made it. He has said Wendy is more careful with his words than anyone in the business.
Right.
So. We all agree that they would need to keep Draymond. So let's assume if they got him and they kept Draymond, I don't know that the chemistry is. You're talking about Pacino and De Niro, but what if in one of those times Matt Damon was in one of those movies and called Pacino a son of a gun, and so he said, "I'm never working with you again."
I think, look, it's been a few years. I'm sure we've seen them even after games talking a little bit. Draymond's addressed it. I think they would be fine.
I agree with that.
Look, LeBron went and played for Dan Gilbert. And I get it, Gilbert's not a player.
Yeah.
But still, that LeBron showed them, look, be mature and keep the main thing the main.
I'm far from an NBA reporter. I sit close to a former NBA reporter, but I'm far from a real one. But I have heard stories about Draymond and KD that haven't made the news that I'm like, if that was out, I feel like we would put some of the tension in the back.
You've heard positive stories.
Super positive stories about Draymond
hanging
and KD.
out or whatever.
Yeah.
Look, remember Draymond and LeBron. I mean, in the finals when Draymond hit LeBron and got suspended and all that, I mean, obviously
and KD's tied into that as well. Because
I think Draymond. I'm confident it would work. I think Draymond. I think Draymond's a great guy.
So what I will say is, because Draymond off the court has a basic universal approval rating from everyone I know that knows him. That part is undeniable. But it's just, there is almost that part would be weird, but it also seems like he could be in a trade, which is a whole nother discussion.
I don't think that would.
If they, let's say they did get Wiggins or keep Wiggins and let Draymond go, they're still very good. But
I think they're worse.
Yeah, Draymond
because
is
he's the linchpin defensively. Because we talk about Luka and LeBron's defense.
They
Steph's
also need his spirit.
They need his spirit. They need they need his vocal leadership and his defense.
I also can't see any more like sad Steph Curry highlight reels where like, oh, he thought Clay was going to be in the corner. Where it's like, oh, he was waiting to see Draymond there, like passing to ghosts. It's really sad. Okay, the other story, this one we don't know what we think about.
I know what I think about it.
The Luka trade felt like a nightmare for Mavs fans. The story now is that the Mavs have dreams of adding Durant. The Athletic writing, while the likelihood of Dallas pulling this off now appears unlikely, the mere idea of KD joining Dallas' star-studded group sheds new light on the thinking of Mavs general manager Nico Harrison.
Here's the important
after he
part
was roundly ridiculed for the Doncic deal. Okay, your reaction to this?
Well, dreams is the right word. I have dreams too. Like I won't mention them, but if it could happen, it'd be great. If it could happen, then everybody would go, oh, that's what they were doing, and it would make great sense. Because look, if they got KD with Anthony Davis and Kyrie said last night, we all know the video where KD and Kyrie talking into Boston,
that the plan was for those three guys to go to Boston.
Those three to go to Boston with Jason Tatum. I don't know how that was going to happen, but it would be great. And I think Dallas would be the favorite in the West if they got KD with AD and Kyrie. But how I don't think they have the pieces.
And kidnapping?
Phoenix,
whatever you have to do.
There's nothing you can do.
Clay, PJ Washington, they don't have picks.
No,
you could give a bunch of role players, but Phoenix can get more than that if they give up KD, I would think. Look, I hope, because just for storylines, I mean, I love KD and Golden State, but it'd be great if KD would go there, but I just don't see how it can happen.
This is the definition of saving face. For the record, if the trade, I know this trade doesn't exist, but if it was, we traded Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis and Kevin Durant, I'd still be like, man, would I have done it? Like you are now saying to win right this year or next year, over the next 10, but it would have been a real debate.
Yeah.
Obviously, the trade happened, except instead of Kevin Durant, it was Max Christie and a seventh grader to be named later. So not great. It is impossible. Because maybe it would have been possible, maybe, had Nico gotten all the Lakers picks and all the swaps. Then maybe, and then you flip those. Yeah. But Kevin Durant, recently, was traded for Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, 4 firsts, and a swap. Mikal Bridges was then shortly thereafter traded himself for 5 firsts and a swap. So Kevin Durant, as of 2 years ago, was worth Cam Johnson, 9 first-round picks, and 2 swaps. I'm here to tell you the Mavs don't have that ammo. And so it is, to me, this is ultimate spin zone of, oh, listen, we have bigger plans, and that's why we did it, because it is implausible. It is more likely that Kevin Durant is traded to his hometown Wizards than it is he's traded to the Mavs. I understand you're saying of make it happen, but it's not baseball where there's no salary cap, and it's not, thanks to Ted Stepien years ago, you can't trade infinite first-round picks into the future. And the Mavs, again, I'll remind everyone, the Mavs have already traded away their own first-round picks, 27 through 30. 27, 28, 29, 30. 2 are gone, 2 are swaps with Oklahoma City, who's going to be awesome, and the Spurs, who are going to be awesome.
Why is this out there?
Because
there's a lot of stuff out there. It's trade deadline week.
And because the Mavs, even that, I don't know if we can put, I'll read the quote board again. I mean, even the exact quote from The likelihood of pulling it off appears unlikely. The idea Sheds new light on the thinking. Okay, so who can shed light on thinking? I think only the person doing the thinking. It's like, hey, I know everyone thinks I'm an idiot.
It's like, all right, we're going to get AD and then AD. It's like, hey, you can't do that.
He's saying they're leaking it.
They're leaking it. They're leaking it to put it out there. So when it doesn't happen, then
at least they were trying.
And
that
it's
was
like
their plan.
this offseason. What if LeBron opts out? Would he want to play with Kyrie and AD? Would he come? We have big plans. Like, that's to me what it is. Because this is impossible. It'd be dope.
If there ever was a time for Adam Silver to step in, and I don't care if it's KD to Golden State or Dallas. I mean, people have talked about, obviously, the declining ratings and stuff. First of all, everybody wants to see LeBron and Luka together.
Yes.
And then KD in one of these two places, like, oh my God.
KD
All
to
of a sudden,
Golden
the NBA is getting so interesting.
Yes.
If KD's on the move.
Meanwhile, Lakers all of a sudden are good. They've won 9 of their last 11. LeBron put up 26, 8, and 9.
On 13 shots.
Talked about, was it 13 shots?
8 for 13.
Didn't know that. Spoke about his new teammate last night after the W. Confident this will work.
Well, first of all, I'm awestruck by how well LeBron is playing. Like I've said the last couple of years, because his numbers have essentially been what they've always been. But I've said, don't be fooled by the numbers. He's still obviously a great player, but he's nowhere near what he used to because he wasn't impacting winning like he used to. Mm-hmm. Well, lately he's impacting winning. I mean, they've beaten the Knicks, they've beaten Boston, they've beaten
they beat the Clippers.
Clippers who have been playing well. They beat Golden State. So
and no Anthony Davis for the last few.
Right. And the Clippers have been playing pretty good basketball. So LeBron playing this well. Look, about 10 to 12 years ago, a former player who won multiple championships told me this. He said, if LeBron would pick a position, if he decided I'm going to be Magic Johnson, average 23 points, 12 assists, or I'm going to be like a typical small forward and lead the league in scoring and get 10 rebounds a night. You know, obviously he'll get his assists too because he can pass. That he said, this is the direct quote, he would have won 8 championships already. Because he said LeBron doing everything makes it harder for the players to adjust around him because you don't know necessarily from possession to possession where you're going to be and what you're supposed to do. If LeBron, and he's done it more recently, last few years, if he says, all right, Luka's the ball handler, obviously he'll handle it occasionally, but for the most part, Luka's the ball handler, I'm a small forward, and he can score more than he's even scoring now. Like, he's averaging 24. And he's going to score and rebound and let Luka kind of be the primary ball handler and have that role. I think they could contend. Now, again, I'm not saying they win the West, but if LeBron accepts that role, he'll score big because he knows how to score in this league, and he shoots it better than, maybe better than he's ever shot it as far as jumpers. Then, yeah, they still need bigs and stuff, but they can definitely make some noise.
And he'll be better defensively.
Yeah,
because running the show is exhausting.
Yep.
Like, that's part of my defense of Luka. It just having it was retroactively a long time ago. Brew remembers this. It was part of my defense of James Harden.
Yeah.
Was, you know what I mean?
Best player ever.
Right, well, he was looking like that at some point. But like, when every possession you're making every decision and doing all of it, it's exhausting. And when you're doing that and playing 38, 40 minutes, LeBron at this point is playing 35 and a half. You got to rest at some point. I thought the most noteworthy thing was LeBron acknowledging, I could have waived my no trade and been out of here.
Yep.
He said that. Like, we didn't play it in the clip, but he was like, if I wasn't into this, I would have waived my no trade and would have left. He could be on the Warriors right now. I know you're talking about Adam Silver can make it happen. The Warriors wanted him. They wanted him last year. If he would have done it now, not only would no one have blamed him, but narrative-wise, it would have felt different because the Warriors are right now out of the play-in. You know what I mean? That all of it. And he was like, no, I'm going to give this a go. And the fact that he said again, Luka's been my favorite player in the league for a while. That Luka said, this is the guy I looked up to. I do think there is going to be a real basketball mind meld plus human connection. I also think it'll be clunky early because that's almost inevitable. But LeBron's age at this point is like misleading because we have all just said in our head, well, he's the oldest player in the league by a lot, and he's in year 22. So obviously he can't be one of the 8 best players in the league. Right now he is.
Yeah.
Right now he just is. And he's not all NBA out of legacy. He's all NBA out of merit. And Luka, I believe to be a top 3 player and going to be peak motivated. So I think it'll work.
Brew, I'll ask you, if I was a reporter and I asked LeBron this question, what do you think he would say? Do you think this is going to become Luka's team come playoff time?
I think he would say, whether he really believed it in his heart, I think he would say, yeah, that's the goal. You know, I'm 40 years old, and obviously I'm a leader on this team, but he's the young guy.
I believe he wanted it to be Anthony
Yeah,
Davis.
I do too.
I know you don't, but I think he wanted it. AD didn't take it, so he's like, I've got to take it. Now, I still think he said it there. I'm the leader of this team. I think LeBron could be averaging 15 a game in year 27 and be the leader of a team because he's LeBron and because he's a great leader. But man, I guess I'll say this. If he can't hand the car keys to age 25 Luka when he's age 40, then he never was going to hand the car keys to anyone.
No.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.